Hey guys, this is Deepak back, and in this video, I'm gonna talk about how the policies that I talked about at length in the previous videos, where I said about all the different sections of policy, and also I mentioned about different concept of policies, identity-based policies, resource-based policies, everything I had talked in the previous videos. All of them will culminate in this video where I'll explain how the policies are evaluated. So please do check out my earlier videos. Please do check before you come here. It really will help you to understand things in a flow. So I really hope you guys will check them out. So yeah, let's get going here. So basically, you have different policies. You have resource-based policies. You have identity-based policies. So what happens? As I told, you don't, if two policies are created, one policy at a resource level, where say at S3 bucket, I'm saying I'm gonna allow everyone in this AWS account to access. And I'm creating an identity-based policies where I'm saying, okay, so and so users are going to be given access to read from this S3 bucket. So the combination of these two are going to basically work out. These two are combined. The intersection. That say, if this guy has got, if user X, say user John has kind of access to say bucket A, for example, user John access to bucket A, and a resource policy is created for all the buckets. So say all buckets, every bucket has a read access. Okay. And if this user John is given access to bucket A, if this guy is given to bucket A, then the intersection will only work. So if I say every bucket is given read access, but John has got read and what you can say write access. So what will happen? John will only get the read access. He won't get write because it's the intersection. Similarly, you can set up permission boundaries. I mean, these are all services AWS offers, permission boundaries, etc., where you can say a set of user, this guy, Mr. John, is only allowed read write access. He can't delete things. So when I create an identity policy which has I say a delete policy also and a read policy only for say John. But if John has a permission boundary of only read, he can't do any writes, then he will only get the read, he won't get the write. So that's simple to understand. That's it about this intersection of policies and how it evaluates, how the evaluation done is pretty important to understand. So you can see that if there is an initial assumption is everything, no one gets any access, everyone is denied the access, no one has any access. And first it will check validate all the possible policies. Every policy is evaluated, everything is evaluated. If there is a deny in any of the policy, even one policy says denied, then it's denied. Yep. If there's something called SCP, organizations service control policy, something which I will not cover later. So if this principal is a member of this SCP which allows access, then yeah, you can go to the next stage, otherwise denied. Okay. Then is there a resource-based policy created to this resource? Does the resource have a resource-based policy? Yeah. Okay, so if doesn't allow involved for this user, yes. If this use resource-based policy specifically say, yeah, this user is allowed, yes. Okay, fine. No, if resource-based policy doesn't say and allow to this user, okay, then go to the next. No, that resource policy does not exist. Is this principal having a permission boundary? No, no permission boundary, then fine, good enough. If yes, is there an allow? for this resource, this activity or something, or this type or resource or action? Then yes, no, deny. If a deny exists, then deny. Otherwise, is the principal assumed? Is a session, is there an allow for the session? There can be something called session policies. Is there an allow? If no allow, then you can uh, cancel this. Finally, you're gonna check whether this identity-based policies, that is policy attached to particular user says, if there is an allow, yes, you go ahead and do it. If no allow, deny. No, then deny. That is no allow is available, no available. If no identity-based policies, then also no. So finally, what you can see is there is a no against everything, explicit deny, no. If there is resource policy attached, so if you see here, right, as I just said, if there is an explicit deny set to no, is a principal member of an applicable service control policy? No. Does a resource policy exist? No. Does a permission boundary exist to the user? No. If a session assume policy, session policy, no. Then user has identity policy, no. If all of them are no's, then it's a deny because nowhere it's mentioned access is given. But in any of these actions, if you see, is there an allow, a specific user allow? Yes. If there is a particular allow to the user, yes, right? And if in any case there is a deniement, if what you can say, if a user is say attached to a particular policy, like a principal policy, or if it's attached to an SCP policy or a resource-based policy. Any of the cases you see there is a allow, there is no allow mentioned. Then if there is no allow mentioned, then you can say no. So no, no. But if no policy, none of these policy are attached, then you can go to the identity policy and check if there is an allow. And then finally, yes. So I hope it's not that confusing. If you just listen this video again, you'll go through it, you will understand what I'm saying, this process. So thank you for watching again, and please do subscribe. As always, I request you to subscribe, which helps the channel and me grow. Thank you. Bye.